There's a moment in life that doesn't come with fireworks or fanfare. It doesn't knock loudly or demand your attention. It comes quietly, gently, usually when no one else is around, sometimes in the middle of folding laundry, sometimes as you stand by a window, watching the sun sink low into the evening sky. Sometimes it comes after everyone has gone home and you're finally alone with your thoughts. And in that quiet moment, something shifts. A whisper from somewhere deep within that says, you don't have to keep carrying it all. And for the first time, you listen. But for many of us, that moment comes only after a lifetime of trying to be the strong one, the reliable one, the one who fixes, holds, rescues, reassures. We try to be everything to everyone, not because someone asked us to, but because somewhere along the way, we believed we were supposed to. We were taught to put others first, to be dependable, to be selfless. And so we did. We poured from ourselves like a never-ending well. We gave, we showed up, we carried, we soothed. We made ourselves small so others could feel big. We stayed silent so others could speak. We went last so others could go first. We made sure everyone had what they needed, even when it meant we went without. And for a while, we were proud of that. It felt good to be needed. It felt noble to sacrifice. It felt right to give. But what no one told us, what we rarely allowed ourselves to admit, is that there is a cost to being everything to everyone. And often that cost is ourselves. Chapter 1, The Mask We Wore for Too Long. Somewhere along the journey, we put on a mask, not one of deception, but one of survival. The mask of I've got it handled. The mask of I'm fine. The mask of don't worry about me. We wore it to be strong for others. We wore it to avoid being a burden. We wore it because the world seemed to reward those who kept it together. And after a while, the mask became a second skin. We forgot we were even wearing it. I remember a woman who told me she had raised 4 children, cared for her aging parents, supported her husband through illness, volunteered at her church, and held a full-time job for over 30 years. And then she said something I'll never forget. She looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "No one ever asked me how I was doing, and the truth is I don't even know anymore." That stuck with me, because how many of us can relate to that? How many of us have spent decades tending to everyone else while slowly losing ourselves? How many of us learned to value our worth only through what we could do for others? When we're always the giver, always the helper, always the strong one, it becomes easy for others to forget we have needs too. And part of that is because we never showed them. We never let them see the cracks. We never gave them a chance to care for us because we believed somehow that needing help made us weak, that setting boundaries made us selfish, that choosing ourselves meant failing others. But we were wrong. Love doesn't mean losing yourself. Strength isn't measured by how silent you can be in your own pain. And being everything to everyone is not a badge of honor. It's a weight no one is meant to carry. Chapter 2, The Silent Cost. The cost of constantly being everything isn't just physical exhaustion. It's emotional emptiness. It's a quiet ache that builds over time. It's the feeling of walking through life unseen. It's the resentment that sneaks in when you're too tired to give but give anyway. It's the disconnection from your own heart. When we live our lives always responding to what others need, we stop asking ourselves what we need. We forget what brings us joy. We forget what peace feels like. We forget who we are when we're not performing, serving, or sacrificing. Sometimes we even forget what it's like to be fully present with someone, not as a caregiver or problem solver, but as ourselves, just as we are. And underneath all of that effort, all of that doing, there's often a quiet fear. A fear that if we stop, people will stop loving us. that if we say no, they'll walk away, that if we ask for space, we'll lose connection. So we keep pushing. We keep saying yes. We keep being who we think we need to be for everyone else. But love built on performance isn't real love. And relationships that rely on our silence, our sacrifice, our overgiving, those are not safe places for our soul. We have to learn to ask, what would it look like if I let myself be known for who I truly am, not just what I do? Chapter 3, The Power of Letting Go. There comes a point in life where we have to lay it down. The mask, the expectations, the fear, the belief that we're only as valuable as our usefulness. We begin to realize we've been trying to hold the whole world together, but no one ever asked us to. We just assumed it was our job. We stepped in. We filled the gaps. We picked up the slack. But we can choose differently now. We can learn to let go, not of people or love, but of the belief that we have to be everything all the time. We can choose to rest. We can choose to say no. We can choose to not explain ourselves. We can choose to disappoint others in service of not abandoning ourselves. Letting go doesn't mean we don't care. It means we care about ourselves too. It means we trust others to take responsibility for their own lives. It means we believe that love doesn't require self-erasure. There is a power that comes when you no longer live for everyone else's approval. When you stop defining your worth by how many needs you can meet. When you begin to see your own needs as sacred. This is the freedom of boundaries. This is the healing that begins when you realize you were never meant to be everything to everyone. Chapter 4, Reclaiming Yourself in the Quiet. Once we let go, we create space. Space to remember who we are underneath all the roles we've played. Space to hear the quiet voice that says, you matter too. Space to feel joy, not the joy of being needed, but the joy of simply being. We start to notice the small things again. The smell of coffee in the morning, the way sunlight hits the floor, the way music sounds when we're not rushing through life. We begin to ask ourselves, what do I want today? What would feel nourishing? What would bring me peace? We might reconnect with old hobbies, start reading again, take walks, sit in silence. We might spend time with people who see us not for what we do, but for who we are. This is where we reclaim our lives, not by doing more, but by doing less with intention, by honoring the rhythms of our body, by respecting our limits, by choosing rest without guilt. And when the old voices rise up, the ones that say we're lazy or selfish or letting others down, we breathe deeply and remind ourselves that those voices are echoes from a time when we didn't know better. But we know better now, and we can choose better now. Chapter 5, A Letter to the One Who Gave Too Much. To the one who gave more than they had and kept giving anyway. To the one who held others up while their own knees were buckling. To the one who smiled through the pain, who hid their sadness, who believed that being strong meant never asking for help. I see you. You did what you had to do. You loved the best way you knew how. You showed up. You carried so much that no one will ever fully understand. And I want you to know you didn't fail. You didn't fall short. You were human. But now you get to rest. Now you get to choose you. Now you get to be loved, not for what you do, but for who you are. It's not too late to come home to yourself. It's not too late to feel whole again. You don't have to keep earning your place in people's lives. You already belong. You are not a burden. You are not too much. You are not too little. You are enough. Let this chapter of your life be the one where you come back to center, where you care for yourself with the same devotion you gave to others, where you speak up, where you set boundaries, where you find peace. Finally, choosing yourself with grace. This is not the end of your story, not even close. This is the beginning of a gentler chapter. one that no longer demands that you stretch yourself thin or carry weight that was never yours to begin with. This is where you step out of the constant giving, the striving, the pleasing, and step into something quieter, something softer, something that feels like home. You don't need to earn your rest. You don't need to apologize for needing space. You don't need to feel guilty for choosing yourself. Because choosing yourself doesn't mean you're choosing against anyone else. It simply means that you're finally willing to stand beside yourself with as much loyalty and compassion as you've offered everyone else for so long. You're not turning your back on others. You're turning your face toward your own soul. The truth is you can love people deeply and still draw boundaries. You can be generous and still say, not today. You can be a caretaker and still need care. And you can show up with a full heart without giving all of it away. You've spent years, maybe even decades, thinking that your worth was wrapped in what you could do for others. And now you're learning something new, something powerful, that your worth isn't something you give away. It's something you come home to. If this spoke to you, I'd love for you to be part of this growing community. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. This space is for healing, for reflection, for real connection. Thank you for being here.